right, welcome to our second review and our last one of the evening as we review Trinoline All Ages Edition because that is the edition that is on Steam. This is, well, another release from our friends at Manga Gamer. I've lost track of how many of these we've reviewed this year. Like, we review quite a few of their products. Like,
yep.
Anyway, Trinoline. Right. So this is from visual novel developer Minori. That is a name that has crossed paths with us before, as they are the developers of the Supipara series. And
Yep.
I bring that up because you can see that on display here. Trinoline has the production values of the Supipara series for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm like, I give this a bit of a dent because this game does attempt like full body animation at points, and they try.
Yeah.
Like
it's
the
not
game,
quite as smooth.
No, it's like they did not have enough frames to make that look good. it looked pretty janky and classic overall aesthetic here because simple movements looked pretty astounding. You know, if only because movement in general is pretty rare in visual novels. And aside from that, the actual like CG art is very detailed. Although, I'll be honest, I think the character designs are shit. Like,
they're pretty generic for visual novel.
It's not just that they're generic in general. That it's like they all look the same in relation to one another.
Yeah, there are a couple of characters with very similar faces and close enough hair colors. If they didn't change their hairstyles, it would be tricky to tell some of them apart.
Yeah.
And this is a visual novel that slams down on the moe aesthetic and chugs it to 11. Because this is one of those things where you've got a actual doctor, a lady doctor who looks like a goddamn 12-year-old.
Fine.
Apparently, she's related to someone from one of their other visual novel series, which I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me, but it's more. Yeah, okay. That's at the point where the moe aesthetic goes too fucking far in my estimation. It's when actual adults look like, fucking grade schoolers. It's like, it's like, I've never liked that, and I will continue to not like that. Infantilization of of females is a whole topic. In just anime and anime adjacent things, and this is related to it. I'm like, it's like, anyway, outside of that, the character designs look pretty the same. Like,
I mean, it's cute if you're into that style.
Yeah, and it's also I know they can do adult figurations because Karu, the mother of the main character, is drawn to look like an adult. It's like,
granted, most of the other characters are actually young, but
like, they're high schoolers though. Like, they look a bit young to be high schoolers, but this game lost me when it introduced a actual doctor who looked like she should be in the 4th grade.
I think that's sort of supposed to be a joke, but I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's a joke, it's not communicated well. Okay.
Well, the joke, by a joke, I mean like the main character thinks it's silly.
Possibly, though that could be a localization thing. It's just, the actual art's pretty good. I stand by the fact that I don't like the character designs at all. But I'm like, clearly for that which this appeals to will find it very appealing. To a point, because we are talking about the all ages version. And, that is a tip of the hand in the fact that, yes, this game is an adult visual novel. It's just you got to get the adult patch, or you got to buy a manga game or something like that. The vanilla Steam version will indulge in a bit of it. Like, you'll still get the erotic moans sometimes.
And stuff still happens in the story. It's just you don't see it.
Yeah. It's just the actual sex scenes. Yeah, they're blacked out. In fact, there is an option. There's a volume option for the sex scenes. You can have them you can adjust the volume on that if you've got the adult patch. If you don't, it's just grayed out because, well, it does not exist in this version. Let's see. Worth noting, did not finish this, mainly because this is a fairly.
It's listed on like Manga Gamer as a medium-length visual novel, but that means between 10 and 30 hours. So visual novels get long.
Yeah, it's like nobody here has 30 hours to spend on a visual novel. So, not the first time this has ever happened, but we roll with it. It's like initially it looks like a kinetic visual novel, because this the main plot of the game is surrounding Shun and his, how do I put this?
Well,
his android sister, but not sister.
He had a sister who died when he was young, and they live in a place that does a lot of robotics research, and apparently their memories had been recorded many times when they were young. So one of his childhood friends grew up, because they're still only in freaking high school, to develop to be a really fancy robot scientist and built an even more lifelike android than the other androids that are already all over this island because there's a robotics thing. And she decided that it would be a good idea to do that, to program the android with the memories of your sister. And, because then you could have your sister back and everybody could not be sad anymore. And there definitely won't be any negative consequences to this.
That's about right.
That is an excellent summation of the story, or at least the main story, because, okay, this game it's one of those things it's at odds with itself, because it's trying to do two things and it utterly fails to do it. Because it wants to be a very serious examination of robotics and transhumanism and what is life, that age-old question, the ship of Agrippa, I think it's like, if you change the parts, is that person still a person? Is that thing still a thing? It's like
what it means to be human and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like, is Shirone still Shirone? It's like, or is Shirone capital letters a different person than Shirone the dead sister? These are pretty typical questions for dealing with this kind of subject matter.
Yeah, a sentient robot.
Yeah, it's like, what, can androids feel love? Can they feel emotions? Can they break their programming? It's like Asimov's three laws of robotics are invoked. But honestly, from what I've seen, beyond the invocation, they don't factor much into it. Like, also for reference sake, the 3 laws of robotics are a literary device. They're not actually applicable to real life.
I mean, they would be if we programmed them into androids once androids are intelligent enough to be able to obey them.
Yeah.
And as structured, literally most of Isaac Asimov's oeuvre is about shit that can go wrong with androids, with robots, with the 3 laws of robotics, but still pointing out that it's still way better than pretty much any other basic rules frame.
Anyway, so it's trying to do all this while also trying to be a light and fluffy harem dating simulator.
Yep.
I mean, it's trying, like, okay, it's like I got far enough where, let's just say relations were culminated in both not just the sexual sense, but, I got to the emotional climax of the story, and then this game goes, nope, amnesia.
That's like kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's like, that's where I stopped playing. That's where this game lost me, because no. It's like, you've only fucked your android sister. You haven't fucked your big-titted best friend, or, the doctor lady, or the other doctor lady.
I don't know if I don't know if the young-looking doctor is an option, but I'm pretty sure at least 2 or 3 of the other characters are.
Yeah, it's like Sarah is an option. And Yuri, I believe, is the best friend.
Yuri.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they're fully voiced. And guess what? Eventually branching paths do show up in this game. I did head on that. And, there are multiple endings depending on who you pick. I'm like, and that just does not work here with the story you're actually fucking trying to tell. I'm like, it's like you're trying to make it like, I would have, even though I don't really like the whole incesty but not incesty.
Because she's a robot, even if she has the memories of your dead sister, and theoretically her personality, because she was programmed with the memories, should have developed in a similar way.
But you know what? I'll give credit to the story. It was trying to address things like that.
Yeah.
It's like it was trying to address, that kind of question. It was actually exploring the issue. And that is where this visual novel was at its strongest, when it delved, and when it delved into trying to build, a proper relationship with any of the other girls. It falls apart because that's not the story that they're trying to fucking tell. It's like, it's like, I'll say it flat out. This should have been a kinetic visual novel. The other girls should not have been options. I'm like, because, they had like the whole love confession and, and everything. And then they hit the reset button because, they hadn't actually laid out the other options. It's like, it's just a jumbled mess where they put that stuff. It's like that.
The two genres were clashing.
Yeah. It's like, let's see. Oh,
yeah, it seemed like, I get that they were setting up alternate possible love interests, but it did seem like they were mostly trying to actually tell a story here, and that can get messed up with.
Yeah, it's like, or if they were going to do that, you had to have the branching paths happen a lot sooner. I mean, they had to throw out a cheap the cheapest of narrative devices, a fucking amnesia angle. I'm like, in order to actually lay out what they wanted to do with the multiple routes. There was no reason for that to happen.
Nope.
So, let's see. The music was actually pretty varied. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I enjoyed the music.
Yeah, I like the music too.
I had the game open for a while I wasn't even actively playing it, and I was listening to the music.
Yeah. I'm like, also worth noting, this game does have like the full production values, which means you do get fully animated insert songs. There's what they call the like opening song, but that happens in like the middle of the game. I will never understand that. And there's like apparently 3 inset endings. So there's a lot, there's a lot here in terms of production value. And of course, that's reflected in its price. This visual novel will clock in at $34.99. And like in terms of production value, in terms of what this game is offering, I think that is a proper point.
Plus, with multiple routes, you do technically have replay value.
Yeah, it's like it's a proper price point in relation to other visual novels we have reviewed. In terms of whether that or not it's worth getting, I mean, I suppose that's dependent on what you are looking for.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will definitely say, you'd probably it would be best to get the adult version, because I'm suspecting that's what a lot of people are going to buy this for.
Yeah.
They're going to buy it for the porn and less for the, the attempts at a compelling story. That's enough,
I guess the story could theoretically be enough to interest you without it, and you can always apply that later, I guess, but...
Well, it's like, unfortunately, I can say these sex is gratuitous because Manga Gamer literally excised it, and, nothing was changed. It's like, that's another dent against this game, by the way. It's like, it's okay that this thing has sexy time in it. It's just, having that being extraneous when you're doing a serious drama thing, and where relationships and all that are important. I'm like, the fact that could be cut, that's never a good sign. Okay. It means the intent of these sex scenes is not to advance the story or character and any of that stuff. It's strictly there for base consumption, let's say. Once again, not a problem in a vacuum, but it's another clashing aesthetic that's going on here, and really, that's what sinks the endeavor and ultimately pushes me to not recommend Trinoline here. What about the rest of you guys?
I mean, if it's what you're into and you're into it, it seems like it's a pretty good thing for that. But if you're not, then you should probably be able to tell that it's not going to appeal to you.
Yeah. Yeah, the story had potential, but it kind of falls flat about midway to later on, and basically you're going to be looking to get this for the pornographic content, basically, in the end.
Right. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Anyway, that'll about do it for this installment of the Fragments Silicon Reviews. The week ahead. Let me see. So, programming notes. Petty Fan is scheduled to get his knee surgery on Tuesday. So we'll be back to having Twilight be our main backup streamer, and as far as the morning shows, because we've got morning shows lined up. Like, now. Like there are 3 morning shows ahead, so that's gonna be fun. Like anyway, coming up on Wednesday, June 26th, we'll be welcoming George, the Fat Man Sanger of Team Fat. His name came up in the interview last week because he was the music producer of The Seventh Guest. He's the music producer of he's got a very long career, very long and prolific career. Although, interestingly enough, he doesn't have much to promote in the present right now due to a fallout of a recent job that was Oddworld Soulstorm. I'm not sure if that was completed or if a thing happened there. Now, might be hard to gauge, but anyway, I'm going to be honest here. This may be an entire episode length interview because once again, we've got a prolific industry veteran that has worked on a lot of games. Now, and has done a lot of music stuff outside of that for the industry. I mean, just some of the things here he did. Wing Commander, Hard Nova, the NES version of Maniac Mansion, Loom, Tux Racer, Zombie Ate My Neighbors, a lot of humongous games. It's like a lot of stuff here. And that's just what Wikipedia lists. It cuts off at 2002, strangely. It's like I know he's got more than this. We may, it may be one of those. We'll be spending the entire episode interviewing this person. But hey, that means there's the material for it. Like, anyway, also on Friday, it's not 100% confirmed yet, because I'm still waiting on word if their marketing department will give final approval. But if it does, we're going to have a pretty big interview happening, as we'll be welcoming the return of Benjamin Azamune. I think that's how it's been a while. If you remember, he was the head of Sushi, the development studio behind Goetia and Fear Effect Sedna. He's now over full-time at Forever Entertainment.
I think it's Anselm.
Yeah, Anselm? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, anyway, he's over at Forever Entertainment. He's helming the Panzer Dragoon remake project. So, yeah.
Which you might have heard is a thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's like
surprising many people because that's.
Yeah. But in addition to that, apparently the Fear Effect Reimagined is not dead. Although, interestingly enough, Sushi is. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I hope to catch up on. Also, worth noting, should this interview happen this Friday, it will be a one-on-one, the first in this show's history, oddly enough.
Yeah, sorry, I'd love to be there, but I have a convention scheduled that I will not be in town for.
I'm aware of that. I'm like, well, this is what Benjamin requested of us.
Right.
It's like I asked for an early July date, but he said late June would be better. So, and once again, this interview could be delayed due to whatever factors that Forever Entertainment's marketing. It's like I'll ping him tomorrow. I've been giving enough time. That's surprisingly hard to say, to make sure the request has been processed properly. Anyway, so until Wednesday, I wish you good gaming.